nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Omakyana Tigurandasya Tyananchana Salakaya Saksurumidikam Yanasmai Sri Prabhu Namaha. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, which is entitled The Three Modes of Material Nature. In this chapter, Krishna is describing his material nature and how it binds us to repeated birth and death in this material world. And three modes means Sattva-guna, Rajaguna, Tamaguna. And these three binding forces are part of the material nature. We often think that we are free, means that we can do what we want. But according to Bhagavad Gita philosophy, that is not so. We are not at all free. We are very much bound by this material nature. And this material nature is three modes of material nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas. They bind us so tightly that we do not have even this smallest freedom to decide what do we want to do. And this material nature puts us into the illusion that we are really free persons. So we can understand that on the material level also we are not free. We are controlled by law and the country. We are controlled by the culture and habits. We are controlled by our wealth. If we are poor man, we can do many things. If we are wealthy man, we can do more things, but these law and culture and habits, and they are still there. And no one of us can decide what kind of work we will take next. These things are decided by material nature, which gives us suitable body according to our activities in this life. Also, we could not decide to what kind of family we took our birth. That was also decided by the activities and desires of our previous lives, and material nature was acting according to that, giving us the suitable family to take birth and suitable body. And these things we can learn from Bhagavad Gita, and this 14th chapter is dealing with this subject matter. It is explaining how the modes they are binding us and which these modes are. And in this chapter, Arjuna is asking 3 questions from Krishna, as Prabhu was explaining in his purport. And he is asking about this transcendental position, which means that person is free from the touches of material nature, is free from these 3 modes of material nature. And this verse that Krishna is speaking now, what we recited, this is the answer to Arjuna's inquiry. How to get free from this entanglement of material nature, how to become transcendental to material nature. This transcendental means also this Brahman platform, as he read from Srila Prabhupada's purport, so that we become Brahman realized person. This realization of Brahman is related to our realization of spirit soul, so that as long as we identify with this material body, this is not transcendental. We are in illusion made by the material nature, thinking that we are this temporary body. And when we follow Krishna's instructions and we come to realization that we are the spirit soul, which is completely different from the material body, then we come to the level of Brahman. And in this chapter also, Krishna was explaining the symptoms of a person who is on the level of Brahman. And if we read these symptoms, these qualities of that person, we can say that we are not yet there. It's so high level, so we have completely control our mind and our desires, our emotions, and always fix our mind to the Supreme. And this controlling the senses and mind, this is the process of yoga. And nowadays we have many kinds of yoga societies and many kinds of yogis. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says who is a yogi. He says that yogi is one who can control his mind and senses. And this means that we don't do everything that our mind says, that I want this, I want that. We don't do that. We control the mind, and we don't enjoy the sense objects without any restriction. So we have these senses, like these hearing, tasting, touching, seeing, and so on. And then there are objects of these senses, and one who can control these senses so that senses don't enjoy the sense objects without restriction, without control. Is a yogi. And yoga means also meditation, concentration of mind to one point. And in Krishna consciousness, we learn to control the mind by concentrating, focusing the mind to the Hare Krishna mantra, some vibration. This is Hare Krishna mantra meditation. Yeah, and by this meditation, one can then advance and add self-realization. Self-realization is the state that one comes to the level of Brahman. He understands that he is separate from this material body and he is spirit soul. So this material nature puts the living entity in many tribulations. There are many sufferings and pleasures that she is giving to us. Now we say that pleasures also, but then we think that, yeah, but that's nice, that's okay, what's wrong with that? And the thing is that these pleasures actually, they result always in suffering. And whatever so-called happiness we can experience on the material platform, that is temporary. This has been the thing that I have many times in Krishna consciousness taught, that how can be so that the pleasures, they result in suffering. And then finally I have understood this thing. It's there in the scriptures and it's there in the teachings of Krishna and so on. But we may be a little rebellious to accept this thing. I have some pleasures in this world, and what's wrong with that? That's how it goes to the suffering. But ultimately, it goes. And the role here in this material world is that You cannot enjoy anything without facing the suffering after that. You don't think that this is a very nice thing, because we are so much after this happiness in this world. And now we find after the happiness, I get something, I remember that it results in suffering. And one thing that helps us to understand is that if we have a good relationship, for example, with somebody, it lasts for some time, but because everything is here temporary, then it breaks. Whether it is death or some other reason, but it breaks all through. And then there is suffering. And if it is very good, very intense, long relationship, and suffering is also very intense. And many enjoyments, they are quite illusory. They are also described here in Bhagavad Gita. Means that these three modes, they put us into illusion. They make such an illusion that although we are suffering, we think that we are enjoying. Yeah, and they put us to, this was in the mode of ignorance and in the mode of passion. They put us to work hard for the fruit of the work, so that we can enjoy the fruit of our work. And then when we enjoy this fruit, then it's very short and insignificant compared to the work that we perform. But we think that is very good. And then that was passion. And then the modern goodness, it gives us this illusion that we are better than others because we have more knowledge and we are more peaceful. Still, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that this mode of goodness, if we cultivate that, it leads to real knowledge. But these modes, they are not very stable, so they change all the time. So it's not very safe position just to cultivate mode of goodness, because then it turns back again to passion and ignorance. In this lifetime, we may be a man in the mode of goodness. That's very nice. But in the next life, again, we are man of the passion or ignorance. It turns like that. So modes are stable, and material nature is strict and gives us these painful sufferings. It's described like threefold sufferings, the Daivika, the Atmika, and the Bhautika. It's like Daivika is sufferings caused by superior entities. They are like excessive heat, cold, rain, earthquakes, things like that. They come through the material nature. And then the Bhautika was sufferings caused by other living entities, like mosquitoes. And other human beings. There was a question that what is the dangerous animal to a man? Is it a shark or wolf or lion or tiger or cobra? There is one Latin poet who gave this answer. He said that man is a wolf to a man, so it is the man. And then there are these adhyatmika sufferings, which means that we get sufferings through our mind. Our mind is the cause of suffering, especially nowadays. So many people they are suffering for mental problems like depression. So I have uh, read description about depression, those who suffer for that in written. How do they feel? And it is really terrible disease, depression, really terrible. And then it's there in our mind. So these were the threefold miseries which are described here in Bhagavad Gita. There are also other descriptions like in Gautamiya Tantra. There were 6 kinds of sufferings that the living entity is undergoing in this material world. These were thirst, hunger, disease, death, lamentation, illusion. And now we can think that thirst and hunger, we don't suffer for these kind of things here. But in the world, there are millions of people who don't know from where to get the next meal. Millions of people who do not have fresh drinking water. And this will always be so. It's not so that in the future this problem is solved. It has always been, it is now, and it will be in the future. This is also because our karma, these simple activities in our previous lives, cause us to take birth in the circumstances that we suffer like that. And this should be like an impetus to get free from the material nature, instructions in material nature, so that one doesn't have to suffer life after life. Now in this life, next life, and next life, we always change the bodies. This is also explained here in Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter, how the living entity is changing his body. And come to the level of Brahman, understand our real transcendental nature, spiritual nature, which means that we are same nature as Krishna. We are eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. Although we do not know what does it actually mean, because now at the moment we are conditioned. And these things are not known by us, but we can study and read them from Bhagavad Gita, from Krishna's teachings. And as Krishna is saying here, that actually when one takes to Bhakti Yoga, then it is quite easy to come to this level of Brahman. This Bhakti Yoga means that loving devotional service to Krishna. And it has 9 limbs, hearing and chanting Krishna's qualities and names, remembering him, then offering prayers to him, then serving his lotus feet, then serving him, and then becoming his friend and offering everything to him. And one can attain perfection by following one of these processes for all of them. And the best method nowadays in this modern time, which is Kali Yuga, is to chant the Krishna's names And therefore, we here in Krishna consciousness movement, we are constantly chanting Krishna's names individually or collectively with others. And by this chanting process, one purifies his consciousness, and ultimately one can come to the level of Brahman, as it is here described. So we are need the mercy of Krishna by following this process. And mercy of Krishna one can get if one engages in these processes and becomes very humble. We need this humbleness in order to advance in Krishna consciousness. Because this proud, this is actually a demonic quality. It is here in Bhagavad Gita. And as long as we have this proud mentality, it's difficult to advance in spiritual life in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we are bowing down in the temple. This is one way to develop humility. Means that there is some higher authorities which is superior to me. It is like spiritual masters, for example. It is deities on the altar, and it is the senior devotees, and so on. This develops the humility in the heart. This also purifies our consciousness. In some countries that have great history behind, people are a little more proud. And I have heard devotees have told me that in these countries, when they come to the temple, start to come to the temple, these people, it's difficult for them to bow down. Because they have this national pride that I'm something, why I should bow down to someone. So, we desire that Krishna can put his focus on our head and purify our consciousness. Once the Kavahad men in the Vrindavan, they decided to go to celebrate Sivaratri. Sivaratri was some weeks old, and we were celebrating it. And thus they started to load things to their full of carts, and Krishna at that time very small. He was asking that, what are you doing? Are you going somewhere? And then they explained him that yes, we go to Ambikavana to celebrate Sivaratri. And then this Ambikavana, according to different commentaries, some say that it's in Gujarat, and we know that Vrindavan is quite far from Gujarat. Some say that it's there in the area of Raj, which means that it's quite near to Vrindavan. Anyway, they made their carts, and then they mounted their carts and took little Krishna with them and started their journey. And when they attained this place, this Ambikavana, then they first camped out there, and then they fasted, because that is the culture when we go to the holy place, there's been fast. And then night came, and they started to sleep there. And at night, then something happened. A very big serpent came there to their camp and started to swallow Nanda Maharaj, who is the Krishna's father. And the Nanda Maharaj started to shout help. and everybody woke up and they started to beat this big snake with sticks and stones and everything. But this snake still continues following Nanda Maharaj. And then finally, Nanda Maharaj was calling Krishna. Krishna, please help. Because Krishna's devotees, they always take shelter of Krishna. And they are in danger. It's also Krishna consciousness. You know, when you are in danger, in difficult situation, you call Krishna. And then Krishna came there, he appeared, and he touched with his, so to speak, his serpent. And then something extraordinary happened. This serpent transformed into a celestial being who had the thousand body. And then everybody was very much surprised for this transformation. And then Krishna, naturally, he asked, who are you? And then this celestial being, he explained that he's from the living planets. His name was Vidyamara, and that he was cursed by a great this Rishi there, because he was proud about for his very beautiful body, his good talent, skill singing and playing musical instruments, and his opulent position there. And when he saw this this Rishi there who was not so beautiful, and Rishis usually they don't have so much wealth and so on, he was laughing at him. And then this Rishi, he cursed him because he was so proud. He would take birth on the earthly planet in the form of snakes, because snakes are considered to be envious persons. So that happened. He became a big snake there. But before the curse was completely disfigured, he became to his senses and begged pardon, apologized these great saints. And the saints then said that you take your word as a snake, but then in one point Krishna comes there and rescues you. So Krishna touched his body with his lotus feet and transformed him from the snake body to his original body, the celestial being, and he became also Krishna's devotee. This way, he lost his pride, he became very humble, and devotee of Krishna. So thank you very much for your attention. We should end here because we should have our ceremony. Next, if you have some questions or comments, you can ask or say, please.
I heard that, like you said, on the Ambikavana, when it's in Gujarat or Vrindavan, I heard that in Vrindavan, the holy places, they are also there. Their replicas are not holy.
Yes, Kavinath is saying that in Vrindavan, all the holy places are there. Also, this Ambikavana and many other holy places that we find from different parts of India, they are all there in God's area. So it's sometimes, not sometimes, many times, it is asked that is this Krishna consciousness easy? Because we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books and listening lectures, and then they say that you just chant this Hare Krishna mantra and it is so easy process. And so Prabhupada is saying that also the children, they can do it. They can also sing Hare Krishna and dance. The answer usually is that yes, it has this side, easy side. But if you want to really advance in Krishna consciousness and come to the level of Brahman, then it's not so easy anymore. It requires quite much dedication. One has to become one-pointed devotee, and this point is Krishna. But it is easy to take. It is easy to start. We chant this Hare Krishna mantra, we eat this Krishna prasad, we read these books and so on. But to go further, then it requires this one-pointedness. You focus your whole life just to Krishna. But one does not lose anything, because everything is there in Krishna. Everything is there in Krishna consciousness. And the supreme happiness is there, because it is happiness on this Brahma level. It is not this triggering happiness at this material world. So where is our Pujari? No, it should be someone. Ah, okay, good. I think you should give make up. You should make up now. So should be now Arabic.
First, Polka offering, then the looks like Polka offering is late.
Okay. We end here. Thank you. Hare Krishna, all glories to the Prabhu.
We can get ready for promise that other people.
Yeah, okay.
Please praise Hanumanananda Prabhu ki.